I've presided over countless trials across the years, but on that one day, I made a decision no judge is ever expected to make, and it altered everything. I've spent decades on this bench, long enough to spot fear in a glance, guilt in a hesitation, and truth in a quiet moment of courage. That morning, the courtroom felt off. The silence wasn't calm, it was charged. Every person there seemed to carry an unspoken doubt. As I reviewed the file before me, unease settled in. The law appeared straightforward, but true justice seemed obscured. I've come to trust that when answers feel too neat, deeper insight often waits in the shadows. That's when it struck me. Experience alone wasn't enough. I needed a clearer lens, raw honesty, free from the routines of the legal world. People assume judges are immune to second-guessing. They think the robe and gavel banish all uncertainty. In reality, the greater the duty, the stronger the inner questions become. The case centered on a young man, head bowed, hands trembling, facing grave charges that somehow didn't fully align. The prosecution presented with assurance, the defense with unease, but gaps lingered in their arguments. I'd witnessed polished lies and hidden truths often enough to sense something amiss. In the midst of it all, my mind wandered to an unexpected source, not a colleague or legal text, but someone who still viewed the world with pure, unfiltered clarity, my granddaughter. She had no legal training, no knowledge of rules or precedents, but she possessed an innate sense of people and fairness. I recalled our family dinners, where she'd challenge ideas we adults took for granted, questioning why systems sometimes harmed the innocent, why one error could overshadow a lifetime. Surrounded by formal procedure and rigid protocol, I realized what the room lacked: simple humanity. During a short break, I did the unthinkable. I took out my phone. The court staff exchanged puzzled looks. Judges aren't meant to consult outsiders, but justice shouldn't be constrained by pride. When she picked up, her voice was light and warm, oblivious to the weight on my end. I described the situation plainly, no jargon, no slant. I shared the accusations and potential consequences, then posed a single question: what seems fair to you? She paused, not from confusion, but thoughtful consideration. That silence carried more weight than any closing argument. While lawyers organized notes nearby, the truest deliberation was unfolding elsewhere, guided by genuine curiosity rather than expertise. Her questions cut straight to the heart, ones no attorney had raised. Why was he there that evening? Had his account been thoroughly verified? Would harsh consequences truly resolve anything? She wasn't advocating or accusing. She was seeking understanding. It stirred something deep in me, a reminder of how potent, uncomplicated inquiry can be. When we hung up, I sat in reflection. The court awaited a standard ruling, unaware that my viewpoint had profoundly shifted. Not the law itself, but how I applied it. Justice, I saw anew, isn't about declaring winners. It's about uncovering what's right. Back on the bench, I met the young man's gaze directly. For the first time, he looked up, fear encountering openness. I began posing new questions, probing beyond prepared responses. Tension rose. The prosecution faltered slightly. The defense appeared caught off guard. Gradually, overlooked details emerged, not in spectacle, but in quiet revelation. The room shifted focus. This wasn't about prevailing anymore. It was about comprehending. And true comprehension, when pursued earnestly, can transform lives far more than penalty alone. Ignored evidence gained relevance. Timelines revealed inconsistencies. Presumptions began to dissolve. I wasn't hunting for loopholes. I was chasing truth. The defendant's account wasn't flawless, but it was steady, relatable, imperfectly human and authentic. My granddaughter's words lingered. Sometimes people need understanding more than correction. As I balanced the evidence, I recalled that judges aren't machines. We're stewards of equity, and equity demands compassion alongside rigor. The courtroom hush grew expectant. When I spoke at last, my tone was measured, every word deliberate. I respected the prosecution's work while highlighting the flaws, urged the defense toward greater candor, then addressed the young man. Truth shines not in perfection, but in holding steady under scrutiny. No one had anticipated this path. Justice seldom follows expectations. In rendering my ruling, a rare calm washed over me. Not mere resolution, but genuine peace, the alignment of law and empathy. Reactions rippled, surprise, murmurs. Some faces registered disbelief, others quiet approval. The young man quietly wept, not from triumph alone, but from finally being truly heard. I tapped the gavel gently, marking an end, not enforcing order. Session closed. Word would spread, drawing criticism and support alike. That didn't concern me. What mattered was sparing one life from being forever marked by a misjudged moment. Leaving the bench, I glanced at my phone. A text from her. Did it make a difference? My smile ran deeper than she could imagine. That day reaffirmed my calling, not for control or prestige, but to uphold justice in its purest sense. Years build framework, but fresh perspective reveals truth. Seeking input isn't frailty, it's strength, especially with so much at stake. The court resumed its rhythm the next day, but I carried a quiet change. I vowed never again to override that instinctive pause, that urge to question the obvious, because sometimes the sharpest vision of fairness comes not from the elevated seat, but from a young mind untouched by compromise. People wonder how judges rest easy with lives hanging on our words. It's not unwavering assurance, it's a clear conscience. That case lingered in my thoughts, prompting reflection on how readily context gets lost, how labels can eclipse nuance. My granddaughter saw not a criminal label, but a person in distress. That shift in view reshaped how I approached every hearing thereafter. Beneath every charge lies a fuller story, and ignoring it turns justice into ritual, not revelation. Courtrooms are often depicted as stern and impersonal, but they needn't be. Guidelines direct us, not restrict us. That day demonstrated a vital truth. Insight isn't solely forged in time. It can spring from unjaded clarity. I didn't delegate the verdict to her. I sought a reminder of fairness's core purpose. Law holds immense power, but without heart, it risks harm. True balance calls for bravery, to hesitate, to probe, to truly hear when convention demands swift certainty. The boldest choice can be vulnerability, reaching out for guidance. News of the ruling traveled fast, labeled bold by some, merciful by others. I cared only for the result. The young man returned later, no longer as accused, simply to express gratitude, not for softness, but for being listened to. That nuance meant everything. Justice isn't always about evaded consequences. Often it's about embraced accountability. I cautioned him. Opportunities like this are delicate. They require commitment to honor them. As he left, I trusted he grasped the responsibility entrusted. One brief call influenced far more than a single outcome. It refined my entire mindset. I listened more intently, questioned more thoroughly, presumed less. The atmosphere shifted. Lawyers adapted. Those on trial felt acknowledged. Verdicts varied, but the journey toward them grew more meaningful. And meaningful process builds lasting confidence in the system. Faith erodes not from strict outcomes, but from feeling invisible. That experience reinforced. Justice thrives on authenticity, not appearances. And authenticity may require venturing beyond norms to safeguard their intent. The bench rises not to distance us, but to focus our service on those below. My granddaughter remained unaware of her profound role, just another caring talk in her eyes. For me, it was a reflection, reconnecting me to my original ideals. Time can rigidify views if unchecked. Openness restores flexibility. Their intersection breeds enduring wisdom. I didn't yield power that day, I fortified it. Strength grounded in humility endures beyond that built on ego. Subsequent gavels felt less burdensome, decisions more illuminated. Justice regained its human essence. Trials will always carry strain, lives converge there in crisis. But strain needn't breed harshness, order needn't stifle voices. That session showed all present. Justice hears first, then responds. It inquires before concluding. A subtle change lingered in their expressions. They saw fairness as deliberate, not automatic. And deliberation starts with openness. The law held firm that day. It simply realigned with intent, empathy, and duty. Such harmony is uncommon, yet when achieved, it renews belief, not only in institutions, but in our shared capacity for good. I often revisit that pre-call moment of doubt, the quiet admission of incomplete insight. Projecting absolute certainty can be risky without introspection. That brief hesitation upheld more than a ruling, it safeguarded principle. True guidance shines when it recalls your foundational why. She knew no statutes, yet grasped equity intuitively, the bedrock of all rightful laws. Without it, codes are hollow. With it, justice lives. Each generation perceives uniquely. Seasoned eyes detect cycles. Youthful ones spot potential. Their convergence yields wiser choices. That courtroom moment wasn't rule-breaking, it was purpose-reclaiming. May this account echo outward, not as judicial rebellion, but as a call to humble strength. Resilient frameworks welcome input. Great stewards welcome questions. And often, the pivotal perspective isn't the most prominent, it's the gentle one, recapturing fairness's essence. Years on, many cases fade. This one endures, timeless in its lesson. Justice evolves not just through tenure, but ongoing contemplation. Seeking her view wasn't shirking responsibility, it was fulfilling it profoundly. Every file hides a narrative. Every narrative, a person yearning for comprehension. When we honor that, the courtroom transcends judgment. It becomes a sanctuary for truth. And truth, rightly embraced, heals deeper than any sentence. My guiding takeaway? Always listen, not to clamor or expectation, but to that soft inner prompt, is this truly just? It spared a young life from wrongful branding and kept me from routine complacency. Justice demands no flawlessness, only integrity, bravery, and modesty. That one call rekindled all three. And while I remain on this bench, I'll hold close the truth. Insight can arrive from anywhere. Even a granddaughter who simply discerned humanity where others saw only a record.